I was having my HVAC installed at my house a couple years ago, and the two guys that came to install it, they were working for about a half an hour, and after about a half an hour, one of them came and knocked on my door, and I opened the door, and he comes in and he closes the door, and he didn't speak English 100%, but he was pretty good, and he looked at me and he goes, "Are you alone?" How do you answer that? I said, I got somebody, No, nobody else here? I said, well, no, someone's going to be here. But they're not here right now. I said, what do you need? And he goes, electric. We turn electric off. Nobody going to come by and turn it back on. We get electrocuted. He's trying to say, is anyone going to walk by and flip that thing on? I said, no. Nobody will do that. Do not start off with, "Are you alone?" Okay? That is not the way to do that, all right? My friend Rob and I had gone to New York one weekend, and we had a blast running around the city and dropping into comedy clubs. I talked about it in an earlier episode. Now, after that weekend, Rob called one of the clubs to get an audition. If he passed the audition, he'd be able to get spots at the club, so I was really excited for him. We both lived in Northern Virginia, right outside D.C. at the time, so he could take a train up to New York, do the audition, and head back that night. The last train leaving New York was around 11 p.m., and then the next one was something like 2 or 3 in the morning. So Rob mentioned this when he booked the audition, and they gave him an early time slot, around 8 p.m. Now, there was a woman who had to watch him audition and then pass him. She was sort of the gatekeeper. I'll call her Denise. She was actually a comedian herself, and we had seen her on stage, but she didn't have a very good set, and we weren't really impressed with her comedy. But I think she had some connection to the owner. Anyway, Rob went up to New York that night, and he said he did his set, and it went fine. Then he waited for Denise, and he waited, and he waited. At 11 o'clock at night, she finally got around to talking with him about his audition. And not only did he not get passed for the club, but he had to wait until the later train to go home. He missed the 11 o'clock train because she had taken her time to talk with him. Now, someone told him that she does this all the time. She knows the train schedule, and if you're coming in from out of town, she always waits until it's too late, so you miss it. After hearing Rob's story, I still wanted to try this too. So I called the next week and I booked an early audition and took the train up. My audition was a standard 5 minutes, and my first 2 jokes that night didn't go great. But after that, all the other jokes hit really well. After my set, I went out to get my critique from Denise, and just like Rob, I waited and waited and waited. I could see she was chatting with people across the room and looking over at me, but she didn't come over until 11 o'clock. Yeah, after I'd missed the train. Then she sauntered over and said, "How do you think you did?" I said, well, the first 2 jokes didn't hit well, but after that it went great. She said, very condescendingly, "No, those jokes didn't hit well at all." I said, well, usually those jokes hit 99% of the time. And then in a very condescending voice again, she said, "Well, I need them to hit all the time." And with that, she pretty much dismissed me, and I didn't get passed. And I got to wait until the late train to go home. And yeah, I'm pretty sure she knew the time of that last train. It was bad enough to be criticized by someone whose act I didn't think was all that good anyway, but to miss the train was kind of the icing on the cake. Now, I know this woman had a big job and a lot of power, but she was just awful. And for years after that, Rob and I talked about what a jerk she was. The takeaway from this is, being in a position to help people comes with responsibility. Don't hold your power over people by being rude. I think we were both madder about the missed train than not getting passed for work. If there's a way you can help someone easily that doesn't hurt you, like letting them catch the earlier train, then do it. It's no skin off your back. Don't be a jerk. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Feel free to check out my website, theworklady.com. This is Jan. Take care and enjoy your journey.